Oh god, I do not want to do this. I'm going to get this review over as quickly as possible, people. And I do want to preface this by saying no episode of Steven Universe is technically bad, except Say Uncle. But Jesus Christ on a bicycle, I really don't like this episode. Now, is it my least favorite episode of the show? No, it's not. Have I mentioned today that I hate Say Uncle? No, but this episode is pretty high up there. This is the Ronaldo episode, the episode that introduces us to the oddities of his character, the little quirks that we're supposed to love. Because apparently the writers of the show don't seem to understand just how grating this character is. Or they do, and they're just trolling us, which is actually, now that I think about it, a much more likely scenario. Anyway, getting on with it, this is Keep Beach City Weird, the 31st episode of Steven Universe, and this is the episode where Ronaldo proves how much of a self-centered, selfish douchebag he really is. Because see, Ronaldo has made up this entirely fictional explanation for all the weird stuff that happens in town, even though the obvious answer is that it's Steven and the Gems. Everyone else knows this. We just saw in the previous episode that Lars and Sadie were not at all surprised that Steven had a teleporter in his bedroom. Clearly people know about magic in this town, and yet Ronaldo has created this grand unifying theory of weirdness to post on his blog, and he goes around gathering evidence that is all evidence that it's Steven and the Gems. But he wants to be the center of all of it, so he wants to continue to believe that he came up with the correct explanation for what everything is, and when Steven, through interacting with Ronaldo in this episode and then talking with the Gems, comes to the realization that it is all him and the Gems, and goes to tell Ronaldo this, he has a freaking breakdown. He has an existential crisis where his entire outlook on life is shattered, and he refuses to do anything about it. And now the healthy outcome to this episode would have been to have some additional scenes between Steven and Ronaldo, where Steven helped Ronaldo work through the fact that he's not as important as he thought he was, but no, that's not the direction it goes. Instead, Steven dresses up like the subject of Ronaldo's theory, the Sneeple, and goes out and says, "Hey, Sneeple are real." And, of course, Ronaldo, upon seeing this, does the only rational thing, and he knocks Steven unconscious and kidnaps him. Seriously, what is it with people kidnapping people in this town? Now, granted, Ronaldo has somehow not seen through Steven's crappy Sneeple costume and realized that he's actually a person, but then in a later scene when he's talking to Petey, he chastises Petey for not referring to the thing that he thinks is a Sneeple as a person, or the Sneeple equivalent of a person. So clearly he thinks that these things are people and have rights, which seems to indicate that he knows that he's violating them? What? But anyway, Ronaldo has Steven chained up in the lighthouse right above Steven's house, and he's interrogating him, and thankfully the Gems this time realize that Steven's in danger and come to rescue him, and the only moment of catharsis in this episode is when Ronaldo, who through this entire thing has been far more insufferable than I have the patience to talk about. He's attacked by the Gems and they beat the snot out of him, and it's just so fulfilling. Until finally Steven manages to wriggle his way out of the chains. He stops the fight, reveals to Ronaldo that again, it was just him, and breaks Ronaldo's spirits again. And you think, well, they have to have reached the point now where Ronaldo's going to have to work through this issue and come out of it a better person, right? Of course not. Instead, Petey tears all the crap off of the walls that Ronaldo has put up about his Sneeple theory and starts saying, "Oh, but look, you missed this and this," and playing along with it for Ronaldo's short-term benefit, completely ignoring the fact that this entire situation is incredibly unhealthy. But anyway, it gets Ronaldo looking at the evidence again, and this is when he says the only interesting thing in this entire episode: polymorphic sentient rocks that have come here to hollow out the earth. It's all part of the Great Diamond Authority. They'll take any form to accomplish their goal, which just so happens to be the plot of the series. Guys, this episode is a big joke. It's either a troll by the writers, or it's self-parody, or it's something. It is not meant to be taken seriously. All of the stuff with the Sneeple and Ronaldo, proving Ronaldo to be so unreliable in how he investigates, all of it is leading up to that reveal at the end where Ronaldo talks about the Diamond Authority. It's all there to contrast that statement and make the fandom wonder, could that be true? Or is it just Ronaldo making stuff up again? This entire episode was just built upon that gag. And it didn't work. Ronaldo's character is annoying, insufferable, unlikable. He's so pompous, always convinced that he knows better than anyone else, and it's harmful to himself and the people around him. Maybe he's intended to be a parody of the kind of person who goes online and spouts their opinion as if it's fact, and treats their opinion as if it's fact, and refuses to incorporate other people's opinions or other facts that are brought to the table into their worldview. But even then, I think it falls really flat, because the character isn't interesting to watch. And if they had learned from their mistake here and never done this again, it would be one thing. But there are more Ronaldo episodes, guys. There are episodes later on where Ronaldo's mere presence ruins the situation. I will get to that later on in future reviews. I don't want to go off on a tangent here either. So I'm just going to call this a review right here. And for the first time since I've started doing reviews of this show, I'm going to say, guys, you could skip this episode and you wouldn't be missing anything. But I'm sure there are people out there who like this episode, and I don't want to make it sound like I think you're wrong for liking it. If you like it, that's fine. Maybe you're just a little more patient for this kind of stuff than I am. Good for you. Of course, as usual, guys, what did you think of this episode if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.